Hello, welcome to Worthy Wednesday. I am your host, Karee. Y'all, I'm happy to be back. Last week I missed you. I was traveling back home. My family, my dad surprised us and we went to Alaska and it was amazing. Highly recommend you should go if you've never been to Alaska. But welcome to Worthy Wednesday. Y'all, I'm happy to see you. Also, I want you to know it was much cooler in Alaska than it was here at home. We got there, it was in the 50s and listen, as much as I say I love the heat, I really do love it, but I was thankful to take a break from the heat. I'm not gonna lie, I was real thankful to take a break, but not to be outdone. When we got home, it was a great big 100. When I got home, it was 105 today, currently 104. Anyway, but I'm thankful to be back in the heat, so I hope you guys have had a really great week so far and you are having a wortherful I just like saying that, Worthy Wednesday. But I want to talk to y'all about something that I just really thought about. I already had something else planned, but I'm like, I need to sidebar it, so I'm going to sidebar. Y'all, I have been doing Worthy Wednesday for 5 years. I started this group with one of my teacher friends who is now a real friend, Carly. Back in the day, my baby's birthday was July 16th, okay? So we started it July 15th, her birthday was the 16th, and that Saturday, July the 18th, is when I flew her to Portland to begin her collegiate journey, of which now that girl is finished. Won't he do it? Congratulations to my baby. But I started Worthy Wednesday 5 years ago, and I literally was looking at my memories, because it came up in a memory, and it was my very first Worthy Wednesday, and I was like, I've been doing this group for 5 years. Let me tell y'all something. There is something to be said, number one, about consistency. There's something to be said about commitment, and there is something to be said about acknowledgement. Now, I want to talk to you, first of all, really just about something that is, to me, the most important thing, and that is consistency. Y'all, when I started this group, I had no intention of doing it, not even for 1 year. I didn't have any intention of doing it for 7 months. You understand what I'm saying? I really started it out of the conversation that Carly and I had regarding creating a space for women to communicate about things that are happening in their real life, and it's kind of morphed into something else, but I remember thinking that this is just for her and I wanted us to do it together. And then I was like, girl, we got to go live, we got to talk to the people, and she was like, no ma'am. Anyway, still love her for that. And so Worthy Wednesday became more of a labor of love for me, where I almost used it as a mirror. Like, honestly, this has become a mirror for me to talk about things that I have really walked through and learned in areas that I have matured, areas that I still need maturing in, areas that I still need to be excellent in. And I really thought sometimes a miracle, not only is it every day, but it lingers in your life for an unspecified amount of time. And it is required that you take a moment and step back and really reflect on how big that miracle has been. Y'all, let me tell you something about Worthy Wednesday. It really started out as a way for us to communicate, but it really became something where people that I have known for a very long time in my life, from high school, from middle school, from working, where they would send me random messages where I really had thought for months at a time at certain phases in this Worthy Women journey that I was really going to close the group, that I was like, well, I don't really know what the point of it is anymore. I feel like I'm just talking to myself, and maybe I could just talk to myself every week and not do a live, right? And those messages would come at the right time. They're like, oh my gosh, Karee, what you said on Wednesday was really good. I really needed to hear it. I really enjoyed the group. Thanks so much for doing it. And then I would literally just cry, because I would think, that specifically at that moment was just for me. It was what I like to tell my baby, it was a God wink to let you know that you don't have to have an audience to be grateful. You don't have to have an audience to understand that your life alone could be a miracle to someone else in a time and in a moment and in a season that they need to see a miracle, right? So I am telling you the power of consistency. Let me tell you, I remember that I was so adamant about starting right at 6 o'clock, and I'd have a timer on my watch, all those things, working full time, trying to get home, trying to decompress, and then getting ready to do the thing. And there was a time, like, maybe the second or third year where sometimes I was at 6, sometimes at 7, sometimes at 8. One time I did 11:58 because so many things were happening in my life, and I used to allow that inconsistency with the time to make me believe that I wasn't being consistent with the group. That like, what if people are waiting for me to do it at 6 and then I don't do it at 6, or I don't do it at 7 or whatever. And then I realized that every time I show up, every time I make the commitment to say, I want to tell somebody about a lesson I learned today in my regular life. And it doesn't matter if someone sees the live, if someone doesn't see it, if someone sees it 5 weeks after I've done it. The point is that consistency creates change in you. Y'all, I am telling you, what I have gained from Worthy Wednesday is the importance of being consistent. There is no way that you can learn how important it is to show up every single week or every single day unless you have something that is demanding you to be the best you that you can be. Now, I know some people would say, girl, if I'm a mama or an auntie or a wife, I know what it means to show up consistently every day. Well, I'm going to tell you, we show up every day. I'm going to tell you that. But I'm not going to tell you that we are consistent in showing up, because we are real live people who have real live difficulties, who have real live choices to make on how we're going to show up. So consistency is not just doing it. Consistency is being excellent while you're doing it. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you that excellence is something that you, okay, maybe not you, I'm just saying me. I can tell people that I demand excellence from them, but if I don't show excellence, then they're going to be like, how do you even know what that is? You don't even do it. And I can tell you, in an area of service, the spirit of excellence requires that your level of consistency is everybody else's. I might show up once or twice a year, because excellence means I am serving and I am giving of myself in such a way that no one can deny that it was a level of service that they did not expect. However, it will become a level of service that they expect, right? You cannot serve in a spirit of excellence and it doesn't change the atmosphere, it doesn't change the circumstance. But what I really learned, honestly, Worthy Women, is that excellence changes me. Like the way that I want to show up for Worthy Wednesday, the way that I want to show up where I work, the way that I want to show up in my life, the way that I want to show up as a parent requires of me to be my best self and serve at a level that I want people to know I am here for them specifically. I am telling you that this particular time in my life, this is the first time in 8 years and some change that I have not posted. Today my baby goes back to school. Today I have a whole college sophomore. Today I have a whole this. You guys, this is the first time I'm seeing all my people post about, their babies that are still going to school, their babies that are starting college. My niece started college today, and I am thinking to myself, there is a change of the guard. And what happens when what you've been doing consistently shifts? Like when you are a parent, you're constantly showing up at school, at performances, at promotions, at graduations, at colleges, at move-ins, at graduations, at changing into going to work. And I realized how different my life is right now. I said, wait, I can't post anything that my baby is going to college or that she's graduating or that she's doing this. I'm like, bro, my life has shifted. Like my entire life shifted because this month, so many memories have come up. It was the last year that Gianna was playing volleyball. It was her last season, her last collegiate season. This was her final. She was in her final year of her master's program. I was like, boy, my life has shifted. But what does that have to do with being consistent? What does that have to do with being committed? What does that have to do with acknowledging this journey that I've been on for 5 years? And I thought to myself, I said, I started this journey when she started college and now she is finished. And I thought, how many Wednesdays, 52, okay, every year, that I have had to show up. And I remember at the top of this year that I was literally burnt out. I was burnt out. I was burnt out. I didn't have anything to say. I didn't have anything to do because I'm like, bro, I'm tired. Okay, I'm just tired. And I remember one time I told Gianna, oh my gosh, it's Worthy Wednesday. And she was like, Mommy, it's okay if you rest. And I was like, what? I literally was like, it's okay if I rest. Where do they do that at? Because your mind will program you to think that consistency requires you keep showing up even if you're tired. But I'm here to tell you that's a LIE, lie. Consistency does not demand that you perform when you need rest. Consistency demands rest, right? You can't be the best mom, the best wife, the best CEO, the best whatever you are if you are tired. I'm just going to tell you right now, and I know all y'all know this. When we as women say we're tired, we're not lying. We are really tired. We're tired emotionally, we're tired spiritually, we're tired physically, we're definitely tired mentally. But she said, Mommy, it's okay if you rest. She said, because if you're not ready to go back and do it, she said, you don't want to do it because you won't be doing it well. Oh, okay. So consistency, Carrie, required at that time that you take a break for just a minute, and then you can actually be prepared to be consistent again. Hence how Everyday Miracles was born for 2025, because I was resting in my consistency. Now, I think it would cause some people to say, well, Carrie, if you didn't do those Wednesdays, then you can't say for 5 years you've been consistent because, well, you took 4 weeks and didn't do anything. And I, too, as myself, thought that. But here's what I learned about miracles that live longer than the moment that you receive them. Consistency doesn't require me to pretend that I don't always acknowledge the miracle I've received. Consistency demands that I understand the brevity and the magnitude of that miracle in my life. Y'all, I have gone back and looked at Worthy Wednesday when it was in the beginning, when we first started, when I was trying to post 50 times a week and have all this engagement and do all these things. And then I was like, golly, I need to get back to that. I need to start doing this and that. And then I realized, no, what I am most excited about is seeing women rally in the group, in their lives, telling people about this, sharing the group with other people, sharing the message with other people. And I was like, the miracle of consistency for Worthy Wednesday will outlive me forever. Like, even if I decide in a year or 2 years or whatever that I'm finished with Worthy Wednesday, well, really, I want to turn it into a TV show, duh. But even if I do that or I don't, I said this miracle for 5 years has proven to me what happens when I recognize the magnitude of a miracle. Like, you guys, I would have never thought that I would still be doing this. I'm telling you the truth. I was like, wait, you don't want to do it? I told Carly, I was like, you don't want to do it? She was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do it anymore. She was like, no, you have to keep doing it. You have to keep doing it. And I was just kind of like, no, I don't really want to do it every week. But Wednesday has become such a pivotal day in my regular life. Like, when I wake up, I'm like, today is Worthy Wednesday. It's worthy because I am worthy, because I was born worthy, because I am worthy, because Jesus made me worthy. Like, all these things, like learning about my triggers, learning about the mind and the mouth connection, learning about the power of my mind, learning about showing up, learning even about resting, which is honestly what I'm going to talk about next year. But the power of understanding that consistency demands maturity. It demands growth. It demands accountability. Like, I have learned to be accountable for times and energy and effort where I wouldn't have done that before. When I feel like there are people depending on me, understanding what Worthy Wednesday really means. It's not just something to do. It's not just a place to hang out. It has become a mission that has really shaped how I look at life, how I look at the things that I have walked through, how my story can resonate with so many other worthy women, and how that story has become an everyday miracle for 5 years. Y'all, in 5 years, you have a baby. That baby goes from one area to kindergarten. In 5 years, that baby is then 10 and is headed into their last year of elementary, going into middle school. Then that baby in 5 years is then in high school, and then that baby is in college. Like, you can look at how different your life changes in 5 years. Like, 5 years ago, my baby was going to college for the very first time. And this mama was having a midlife crisis about that. This mama was trying to decipher if I had done enough to prepare her for the next stage of her life. And now here I stand 5 years later, and that same baby has finished her master's degree, had a beautiful, magnificent, outstanding Division I college volleyball experience. I loved every minute, was the champion in her conference, went to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Y'all, so many things have happened in 5 years, and I am telling you, it has been a miracle that I've watched. Like, I cannot tell you how important it is if we really worthy women started looking at our lives and the miracles that we really take for granted and say, holy crap, I've been living in a miracle for 5 years. I have been living. If you've been able to retire, if you've been able to transition into a different phase in your career, you guys, that's a miracle. It's a miracle that you didn't lose that job, or there wasn't a layoff, or there wasn't a siege, or anything like that. Like, if you've been able to be in your right mind for the whole time your kids have been at home, that's a miracle. That you haven't sent them back to their creator, that's a miracle. I am telling you, the power of consistency will change how you live. Consistency doesn't mean that I agree with everything that is happening. It doesn't mean that I appreciate all of the lessons that I am being required to learn and learn how to master. Consistency means, just like when I've learned to serve in the spirit of excellence, I am going to serve in a way that I can look back over this time and be like, holy crap, God, that was good. Thanks for that. Right? And I don't know if anybody else feels like this. Like, sometimes we don't ever reflect on things in our life. We spend every waking moment planning for the next moment, and we never relish the moments we're in. And we certainly don't take time to reminisce about the things that have happened, and we certainly do not take time to remember just where we've come from. And I don't mean that in a cultural sense where we're like, well, this part of my family was broke, this part of my family was this, and now we've broken the curse and all this thing. I mean, that's great if that's what, yeah, it's fine. But what I'm talking about is really remember how far you've come as an individual. And a lot of times as women, we only look at that through the eyes of our children and through the path that our children have taken. But I am learning that a lot of my life was lived before I became a parent, right? And I've lived some of my life being a parent, still living that part of my life. But who I am, I'm like, you guys, come on. I'm all right. I'm all right. That's like, literally, that's what I be saying to myself. I'm like, good job, Karee, you did that. But consistency, 5 years of worthy women. Y'all, I love it here. Like, I literally am just like, oh my gosh, for 5 years, we've been talking on Wednesdays, talking about the things that we needed, remembering who we were, celebrating what we've learned, and then growing toward who we were destined on the earth to be. This has been a 5-year miracle. And I'm telling you that if you started looking at things in your life, you would understand how important it is to be thankful about the little things. Like, y'all, I'm going to tell you, we are not grateful and we are not thankful. And I remember we talked about this year that a part of miracles is being thankful and saying thank you. I am so thankful for every woman that is in this group, every woman that has ever shared anything from this group. I am thankful for all the women that comment on Tickle Me Tuesday and we all just start laughing about that thing even more. I am thankful that I have had the privilege of being in a position where I could hear the things that really God was saying to me through this group that I didn't really know I needed to learn. I didn't know that I would be thankful for something that has challenged me to my core to become better, to get her. Y'all remember when we learned about to get her together? Anyway, love that for us. But anyway, I'm thankful for this 5-year miracle, and I'm thankful for each of you. And I want to challenge us this week to be consistent. Be consistent in your life, honestly. Be consistent with your character, with your talk, with your walk. Be consistent, worthy women. Like, we're searching and looking and trying to find the next best thing, when really the best thing that we have is the air that's in our lungs and the life that is presently in front of us. Maybe it doesn't look like everything you want it to look like, but that's a miracle too. And I am thankful for the miracles that my eyes have seen. Anyway, I love y'all, and I'll see you next week. Happy 5 years, Worthy Wednesday.